Greetings everyone, and Grade here for another Advanced Wars Days of Ruin Tiny Wars replay. Spawn on the north side as the red Brenner. We got Benchwarmer2. Spawn on the south side as the turquoise Gage. We got Sixel. This map is not a fog war map. It's also a little bit dusty, but that does not make any difference. No random weather. This map does offer 3 bases, 2 temporary airports already pre-captured center, also a seaport here which has limited capability. We've got shores here preventing movement, so not good coverage by the port, just some coverage. When it comes to the COs, Brenner is slightly nerfed from the cartridge counterpart, has standard boarding cost, standard radius, only has 1 expansion zone at fully maxed out. Standard CO power costs, and provides all direct units, plus 10% offense and 30% defense. Of course, he still provides a plus 3 healing restoration. Gage is buffed from the cartridge counterpart, has standard boarding cost, 2 radius, 30, 60, 60. And there's a bit of a list here. All units in the CO zone gets a standard plus 10, plus 10. Ground units and naval units get plus 10% defense. Indirect units and naval units get plus 20% offense, so even direct fire naval units such as cruisers should get that plus 20% offense if I'm reading that correctly. Additionally, all CO units, so the CO loaded unit itself gets plus 20% offense, so he can get super powerful artillery and other support weapons, but anything the CO unit he loads up into effectively gets at least plus 30, plus 10%. As well as if it's a ground unit, so it gets plus 30, plus 20, so he's actually pretty good as a duelist CO while he will support indirect units. His superpower does provide all that globally. All CO units in the field get plus 20%, and indirect units get plus 2 maximum range to go along with it. Now, the way, let's go and get started. This map is relatively large and dusty. Triple bases, 1 airport, with some potential naval play. And it looks like player 1 starts with a weighted infantry there, so allows him to get a bike on the first turn. If I read that correctly. Infantry. Gage did immediately start catching the seaport. That's probably just for the income. As Brenner has done the same. Nice little capture order there while the bike charged towards that city. This bike in comparison cannot range the city. Moving this one off the side, that should be good. And do have an early artillery piece put out by Brenner, not by Gage. Maybe it's something that's just cost right. Can't say how effective the early artillery piece would be. Got a recon here by Gage. He may load himself up there. This map, remember as well, his CO zone does not affect indirect units, just direct units. So he loaded himself up into a bike and a rig. Okay, what is going on? Brenner is not playing standard, to say the least. I can understand early artillery piece, but loading a CO unit into a bike, pulling out a mech, and getting a rig. What is he eyeing? Is he just going to try to open up a lane for a battleship by pulling on a temporary seaport? All he needs to do is plant it right there. Let's see what he does. Battleships are quite expensive. I always forget though, each game is drastically different. 25,000, so it's still the most expensive unit in the game, of course. Every game is just like absurdly expensive naval units. Aircraft carriers are more expensive battleships than Dual Strike, right? Like 32 and 30, or 32 and 28? Something ridiculous. Good shot there on the infantry unit. He is building temporary seaport there. That would do absolutely. Wait. Why is there a second rig? Why is there a second rig? Gage has loaded himself up into a anti-tank, so this thing has currently plus 70, plus 50% firepower, so incredibly powerful, as well as durable units, even more durable. Why does Brenner have 2 rigs? So he's 4 deploying mechs, okay, very nice. He's found a rhythm for quickly deploying out mechs. Mechs have the same firepower as tanks and battlecopters. Why is there a T-copter? I have no idea what's going on. I was going to say mechs counter everything, but they get countered by everything. But 2 APCs and a T-copter, what is going on? Brenner has gone for a good number of artillery pieces here. Anti-tanks, I can't remember how resilient they are versus artillery. They have a weird typing when it comes to resiliency, where they're somewhat vulnerable to infantry, while also being equally as vulnerable to tanks, which inherently is not good. T-copter moving left side, so Brenner's going for mech play? Kills off that unit there. Battlecopter ain't here. Those are quite unstable. And bike and infantry. Gage does have a battlecopter here. And he's also bought his own rig. And a Gage battleship could be incredibly powerful. Brenner is trying to deploy a naval port there, or a temporary port. That would open up a lane for his opponent. That maybe just using the rest of his turn and getting a partial deployment there. But if they both deploy, if there's a seaport or temporary seaport here and here, there will be full traversement of naval. We would actually see he fully does deploy it there, and that's more advantageous to his opponent right now. Because there's still this blocker here. This only opens up the naval path for Gage. What is going on? Good strike there. Battlecopter's heading down south for the winter. Tank. Another battlecopter and tank. He has 47 bike and infantry. Brenner now has 13 energy in his bar. Like that's 17 now. Brenner has a good defensive line there, but it's only good at defense, and he does need both his infantry units to stay still there, so can't push for the capture this one. He can capture this, start capturing out that one. Gage has gone for a rocket, which will help zone out the artillery piece. As much as I dislike seeing rockets, but that could be a good way to force Brenner out of that region. And that's going to be a full temporary seaport. Brenner's going to be eyeing for a battleship, or some sort of naval unit. Interior there. I don't know why. This just seems unusually, the blue, I think, is a little bit too off-putting. Temporary seaports didn't look like this, right? In the cartridge? Or did it? It just seems a little bit, too blue. Maybe... I don't know. Something on this tile could be done to make it a bit more blended, because this feels out of place. It feels like a placeholder icon, honestly. Got a duster here by Gage. Brenner did pull back his rockets there. Anti-tank pushed way forward. He will capture that property. Got 22 for 25, so Gage has more income at the moment. Both sides have a duster out. And mech infantry unit. So we do now have the naval path completely opened up for both sides. Brenner could start eyeing for a battleship. He may need to emerge. I'm going to get one out this turn. Maybe just get a little bit extra income just to store on up. If Gage blows a battleship, then Brenner could blow out a sub. Subs do course start out dive. However, it wouldn't be quite clear he's went for a sub if his money went down, but he sees nothing in the field. There's no fog war. And it saves it for nearly 5,000 funds, so that will give him enough to get a battleship out next turn. Infantry and Dusters push forward, but this Duster is a little bit forward, but there is anti-air to retaliate. Gage is rocket forward. This will easily force Brenner out of this region. And of course the HQ is right there, so you can't fall back too far. Trying to flip some properties here. Brenner's command bike as well. Will get some good power charge here. May get close to a superpower. Anti-air can't range the battlecopter. Anti-air could strike the anti-air. This falls back entirely. Duster can Gage Duster. Mech. Battleship this turn. Mech, so no battleship this turn. Battlecopter infantry. He has 7,000 funds, so he can get a battleship out next turn. Gage can also go for a battleship, which a Gage battleship, a CO loaded battleship, would be the king of the seas. Good shot there. Getting some good hits there. Brenner's at 46 energy. Command bike will not be hit this turn. Units prepping to push forward. Nothing to engage this anti-air here. The mechs are out of range. Brenner's turn. He should be able to get enough seal power charge this turn to pop his seal power if he so chooses. He has enough for a superpower. I don't know if he'll go for it. And there's the battleship. He gets damage on his own units and then pop his power to get 3 health regen. Does not pop the 3 health regen this turn. Battleship will help him equalize this region. Gage's rocket is out of range and Gage is nowhere near enough to get a superpower, and he's in the corner there. Can't generate maybe at most 10 energy this next turn. So the battleship will be able to zone out the rocket now. And Brenner's being hyper aggressive. He's going to eye for his superpower next turn. He will not be able to reach the command bike. Get some good damage across the line. But going for pot shots and everything, not necessarily great. Or, of course, he will get that regen. Everything sort of skimmed around the edge of the shore. The battleship can range everything here, so one of those units may go down. Anti-air, battlecopter, infantry, and tank. Will we see the superpower this turn? Gets the kill there. Has regular infantry unit there. Gets a strike. He may try to get a bit of damage on his forces. Good damage there. Well, he started capturing before Papa's power, so he may not be on Papa's power this turn. Making good gains on the left side. Yep, he is not gone for a superpower this turn. You now have a cruiser to help patrol the sea to protect this battleship for the battlecopters. recon infantry. Now got a battleship here as well. Making good progress. Put a lot of damage, interrupt a lot of captures. Chance for a superpower next turn is so likely. I'm curious how much value will store. Right now it's at 182. So it looks like just a lot of infantry is mostly wounded, though the Duster did take a good hit there. Brenner's turn. I'm curious what the battleship can range. Mechs. But the battleship's rotating around to the battleship. Good shot there. Looks like it's not going for superpower this turn. Traps the Duster there. Start flip some properties. Good kill there. No infantry will be ranging the HQ to start capturing it. And now Brenner has 182 on the field. Gage has 167. And Brenner still has his day-to-day income. Though Gage does have more day-to-day income. Just overall taking more losses at the moment. Anti-tank, infantry, gunboat. Gunboats can traverse through shore, so we'll provide a quick response to get a first strike onto the battleship and help even out the fight. And even if Brenner doesn't take a first strike there on his and receive a first strike on his battleship from the battleship, he can at least heal it up by 3 health. Rocket and anti-tank push his way forward. That rocket has plus 30% firepower, plus 30% defense at the moment. Trying to flip some properties, very nice. Infantry, medium tank, Duster, and infantry. Artillery strikes some outlying infantry unit there, and finish off both of those. Recon interrupts the capture. Battlecopter does strike the battleship, softening up, at least going to drain some funds from Gage. Trying to flip some properties, puts around the battleship, so now it does have a bit more permanent damage. Capturing up multiple properties there. Another battlecopter strike there. Does not finish off the battlecopter just yet, does finish off there. Now Brenner has multiple infantry units, can start capturing the next turn. Gonna start the base race, though this battleship can range the HQ. The battleship's also sort of pinned there. But most Dusters can't go, battlecopters can't go down the Duster, but the AT are in the region. Medium tank also in the region. Takes the Duster there. Rocket get a great strike there on the artillery piece. Lots of good kills there. Strikes the artillery piece there, leaving both artillery pieces wounded. He needs to finish off, does finish off the 1 health one. Does easy get it back up to 4. Though a lot of stuff is not ranged with the war tank and the anti-tank. We could see the superpower next turn. Pops it immediately. Battleship strikes battleship. Gunboat strikes the battleship. Property HQ capture has commenced. Even gets on top of the airport. And the battleship has been sunk. Brenner's just trying to push forward. Don't think anything here can range HQ infantry. Now they come back up there. Get some good strikes on various everything. Gage can start capturing HQ next turn, has some forces nearby interrupted. There's a bit of a choke point here, so the anti-tank right here is going to be very in good position there. Nothing to really knock it out. And there's Gage as well. Wait, Gage had a superpower already as well? I was not paying attention to that. Oh yeah, he had a superpower available. That is actually quite important. That allows him to get +2 max range, ends his turn, and I think it was basically a forfeit there. His Angrade saying, thank you for watching, and on to next replay.